Hello rail fans, welcome to another video on the Rusty Boxcar channel. We had a very busy Saturday, May 29th, out on the Nashville terminal. Caught 10 trains in just under 5 hours. Saw a couple other interesting things too. We're going to throw together a highlight reel here of the locomotive action that we saw on each of the trains and a little description of them. And then we will post each of the train videos separately over the next couple of weeks here as we catch other footage as well. So first up is going to be Q574. This is a daily manifest train that goes from Nashville, Radnor Yard, up to Cincinnati, Ohio, Queensgate Yard. Next up we have its counterpart, Q575, which is moving from Queensgate Yard in Cincinnati down to Radnor Yard in Nashville, Tennessee. It's got a couple of locomotives at the head end. CSX 134, which is still in the YN2 paint scheme, is smoking and bellowing and making a terrible amount of noise. Could hear him from quite a distance away, all the way from the Amkey Junction, which is about 1.2 miles up the tracks. So quite a bit of noise on this one. Pretty cool to see that and hear that. So the other interesting thing that happened while Q575 was rolling by is this gentleman you see coming into the frame here. He is walking up the tracks, a trespasser. Not sure if he is one of the gentlemen that lives in the woods around here. But it's always a little interesting when you see someone come down like this. You're never sure exactly what their intentions are going to be. I'll admit that I was back at the truck, probably about 15-20 yards away from where the camera is. And I was looking at my phone and actually didn't notice him come until he was almost right atop us. He definitely made eye contact and stared at the camera, but didn't seem to want anything to do with us and continued on his way. We did hear on the radio that this train had called him in, and when he arrived at the cemetery about a mile down the tracks, the police were there waiting to talk to him, as they were there already for a Boy Scout function that goes on at the tracks every year, or at the cemetery every year, where they place flags at every headstone. So not sure what the outcome there was, but definitely a call out that when you're along the tracks, always keep your head up. And next up we've got Q500 making its daily run from Radnor Yard in Nashville, Tennessee up to Bar Yard in Chicago, Illinois. On this day, Q500 is led up by CSX 7780, which is a C40-8W rebuild. The chassis on this one originally dates back to July of 1992. Don't have an exact date for when the rebuild was completed, but believe it to be within the last 3 to 4 years at the most. And next up we have N319. N319 is a loaded coal train making its way from Evansville, Indiana, where it would have come off the Evansville Western Railway, down to Cross, South Carolina. You can always tell these cars because of the reporting mark, the SCWX. So N319 came to a stop in front of us. Fortunately, they're on track 1, so it didn't block our vision. As Q580 made its way north, this is a train, a through train, coming through Nashville from South Carolina that winds up at the Osborne Yard in Louisville, Kentucky. And next up, now that both of those trains are out of the way, we've got a X647, which is an extra of Q647. Q647 is another through train. It moves from the clearing yard up in Chicago, Illinois, down to Rice Yard in Waycross, Georgia. Up next for us is V299, which is a doubled up empty train of grain cars on the front and ethanol cars on the rear. This train moves from Baldwin, Florida up to Illinois. He is actually going to come to a stop at the Williams Avenue crossing, which is just north of us, to allow another train to come through the Amke Junction. So we're going to jump in the truck after this passes us and stops, book it up to Williams, and we're going to catch that other train coming south, as well as see V299 in its entirety after we're up there. And we've now made our way up to Williams Avenue. We've gotten here just in time for the crossing gates to come down as Q029 comes off the Henderson subdivision, making its run from Chicago, Illinois down to Fairburn, Georgia. And now the Q029 has cleared the way, we're going to turn the camera looking to the south and see V299 begin to make its run north again onto the Henderson subdivision. After Q029 and V299 cleared the way at Williams Avenue, we could tell that Q029 had stopped somewhere to the south. So we jumped in the truck and drove south past the Amke Depot where we could see the rear end of it. And then we saw it at the Nashville National Cemetery and decided to pull in there. So this is our third vantage point of the day. You can see Q029 is stopped back there on track 1, while Q026 makes their way north on track 2 here. Q026 goes from Jacksonville to Bedford Park, Illinois, and it is one of the highest of the priority trains. It does take priority over 28 and 29, and so they've had 29 stop here before making their way on into Kane Avenue and let Q026 come out. And for the last train of the day, we've got a V205, another empty grainer, this one making its way north from Ambrose, Georgia to Olney, Illinois. And after this one goes by, we're going to call it a day. Not a bad effort, 10 trains in just under 5 hours, as we talked about at the beginning. Definitely more entertaining than a lot of the weekends have been here lately, so really happy to see this much action. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click on the thumbs up below to give us a like. Also, please click on the Rusty Boxcar logo on the right side of the screen to get a subscription to the channel. And send us a comment. Really enjoy reading all your comments, and I try to respond to each one of them. Thanks, and have a nice day.